compassion. And we see this herd of people coming around the lake, and we stand up on top of the mountain going, oh my gosh, look at all these people. There are others of us stand up on top of the mountain and go, what's wrong with these crazy people? Okay, but Jesus is the compassionate one. And what he sees is these people out wandering around in the heat, wandering around in the hot time, knowing that they're going to be hungry. I don't know what time it was, but the point is that if you walk 4.5 miles at 20 minutes a mile, you're walking for a couple of hours. That's without stopping. Okay? So yeah, you're going to be hungry and you're going to be thirsty. And Jesus, it has compassion on this group of people. Then he tells them, in the book of Luke, it says, tell them to sit in groups of 50. So they did count. They really did count. And so somebody went around and said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 48, 49, 50. You guys over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, you guys over here. And they put them in groups of 50. So to have 5,000, how many groups do we need? How many? Okay, have to have 100 groups. Got to have 100 groups of 50 to make 5,000. And that's just men. So you see, it's not that many groups, if you think about it. Now this is a process that they used even in the Old Testament. When Moses had the people, God told them to divide them in groups of 50. This wasn't an unheard of thing for the Hebrew people. So they really did count. Okay, so there was somewhere around 5,000 men there that day. Okay, that's only in the Gospel of Luke. The thing's not working again.
Yeah.
Next.
Need a clap?
Yeah, no. Well, we need some new computer. Or maybe we need a new clicker person. No? There we go. So Jesus turns to Philip, and this is only in the book of John. He says, hey, Philip, we got to get some food for these guys. You say, well, why would he ask Philip? It's because it's Philip's hometown. He's in Bethsaida. You can read about that early in the book of Luke. So this is the homie going, hey, dude, where's the nearest grocery store? That's kind of what's happening. So he didn't just pick Philip because he wanted to pick Philip. He picked Philip because he would know the area. Okay? But he also picked Philip for another reason. Philip had this wonderful gift. He was an accountant. Philip was the guy who sees the people coming, and Jesus says, hey, dude, we got to go pick up some groceries. And Philip went, ain't no way. Philip said 8 months' wages. Okay, if you make 36 grand a year, we need $25,000, Jesus. We're fresh out of money, dude. There's no way. And Philip says that's just for him to have a bite. That's not even enough to let him eat. And so Philip, one of his gifts was the guy who counted. He was the guy who was the very accurate one. Those of you that are left-brained accountant people, God bless you. Okay, I'm not. Don't come look at my closet. It looks like a bomb went off. But I know where everything is. Hanging clothes are hanging and shoes are on the floor. That's the best I can do. Okay? But Philip was the guy that Jesus trusted to come up with a number because he was the hometown guy. He would know where to go. So it wasn't just a random, I think I'll pick one of the 12 you. This was his hometown. Another person that's mentioned is Andrew. And Andrew says in John 6, this is the only place where it's mentioned that he brings a boy. The other Gospels just say, here's a lunch. But only in the Gospel of John does it mention that Andrew brings a boy to Jesus. Now this is a big deal. If you go back and read how Andrew was recruited, okay? Andrew's recruited by Jesus personally. And then he goes and gets who? His brother. And says, dude, I found the Messiah. And he brings him to Jesus. Okay? We need more Andrews. The world needs more Andrews. People that are interested in seeing their friends and their family come to Jesus. Now listen, if you walk up somebody up to me and you say, hey, Pastor Tom, this is my mom Sheila. Okay, which was this morning. And I go, yes, so. I didn't want to meet Sheila. Right? And that's the same way it is with Jesus. We can't make people want to be friends with Jesus, but we can introduce them. And if they don't want him, that's their choice. But the fact is there are going to be a lot of people. There are going to be a lot of people find this loneliness and emptiness and despair in their life, and they don't know the answer. And we've had the answer the whole time. I challenge you in 2009 to find people to bring to Jesus, and all you got to say is, I just want to tell you about it. Do what you want with it. I just want to tell you. Let them do what they want. But we need more Andrews. People whose mission is to bring people to Jesus. What they end up with is a few loaves of bread, it says 5, and a couple of fish. And there's significance to the kind of bread and the kind of fish. Now, you guys have all seen the pictures in the picture Bible of the kids' lunch, right? Right, where he's got these big fish and these big loaves of bread. Right? We've all seen the photographs, because Kodak was around back then, right? Okay? I always thought, maybe he's got a couple big salmon or whatever. But that's not what he would have had. The fish that was available in the Sea of Galilee were sardines. Now, they weren't actually sardines, but they're about the size of what you and I would call sardines. In Michigan, we have a fish in Lake Michigan called alewives. And they're just a little fish like this, and some people will, they're like anchovies almost. And so what this kid had in his lunch, now I've never had sardines. I've never even smelled sardines. But you know what? I was thinking today, I might try some. Now, let me explain. The sense that you have, hearing, smelling, seeing, and all that, that is most closely related to your memory, is your sense of smell. Did you know that? You ever have that one smell that brings back Grandma's house, or read that smell that brings back those old gym clothes you used to wear, or whatever? And so I don't want you to forget the sermon today. So I was thinking that we would just open the sardine can, and Kit and Leslie probably want this for lunch later. Oh my God. People eat these? Yes. Are you serious? You know what? They're good. Actually, this is the mustard and dill right there. You want it? That's some pretty nasty stuff. But people actually eat this, huh? I don't think my cat would eat it. It doesn't smell that bad, though. No, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. But I think if I put a fan on it and kind of blew it over the audience. Now I know that Arlene Outerbridge loves fish. So that'll be her lunch. I'll eat it right there for you. Alright? And if you don't want a bottle, eat it. He didn't have big fish to cut up. He did little tiny things, right? But then there's something else he has. He has barley loaves. Have any of you ever had bread made out of barley? Have you? Okay? This is a significant thing to the Hebrew people. The barley loaves are considered the bread of the poor. So this kid, this boy, is poor. Because that's all he could afford, whoever made the bread for him. But as Christ continues to multiply the bread, he doesn't change it. Because it says they picked up crumbs from the barley bread. See, there's another significant thing to the barley. It was the bread of repentance. A woman who was caught in adultery, what she had to do was make bread from barley, so she would bring it then to the temple. And the reason she was required to use barley was because it had a smell that the neighbors would know what she was making, so that her sin couldn't be hidden. It was a form of shame for her to make this bread. Now, and I looked into some other research. It doesn't say anywhere that the men had to do this, but that would make sense. But don't forget, the culture we're talking about, the men and the women weren't treated the same. And so as Jesus is multiplying bread, the people that are partaking of the bread are admitting, in a sense symbolically, their need for repentance. Okay? That's significant to the story. And that changes the story. This isn't like we're just, got our little snack wraps and we're just, passing it out to people. That there's always significance with the Hebrew people to everything that they ever did. And this is one of the messages here. So Jesus takes the fish, takes bread, and he prays for a miracle. If you're one of the 12 guys standing around watching this, what are you thinking? I mean, seriously, what in the world, what is going to happen? Of course, you've heard the stories of manna falling out of the sky, so maybe you think that's going to happen. You've heard stories of people doing this and people doing that, but there's got to be a point in this where you're going, oh man, this ought to be good. Right? There's that anticipation of how's he going to pull this one off. And so Jesus gives the disciples, they all have a basket, and he tells them, I want you guys to go hand out food. Back in the day, the Hebrew people carried a basket, okay? A purse, a merce, if you're